I'm Antonio Roman Alcala, and we're at the Alemany Farm in San Francisco. It's a 4.5-acre site, and we grow food. The Alemany Farm is located basically right in the middle of San Francisco. It's on the southern side of the city, right next to the 280. We're lucky in that the space is so large that we have a big buffer zone between the freeway and where we grow. This space was basically an illegal dump, and people from all over the city would drive down Alemany Boulevard, pull off and dump their refrigerators or whatever it was they didn't want. And so people in the Alemany housing community decided they didn't want a dump in their neighborhood, and so they worked with a group called the San Francisco League of Urban Gardeners to establish this site as an urban farm. They basically created a farm, and then Slug unfortunately fell apart. The site was abandoned for about 2 years. It was in early 2005 that I started coming here with a couple friends. It was through that where we started organizing with the Alemany community to see what it was that they wanted to see out of the space, because there was history there that we didn't want to ignore. This is the main garden. We've basically grown our growing area by double every year since we started. So the first time, these probably was only about the first 5 rows that we actually grew. Then we doubled that, and now we've got the whole flat area over here, and now we're expanding over to the west garden. The food gets mainly distributed among the volunteers that come on the weekends. At 4 o'clock, we'll harvest whatever is available, and you can take home a grocery bag of produce for free. Some of the youth workers, they've been taking food home. Mostly the girls. The guys don't care at all, but the girls will take some home. Some of them have families. They cook for their families. And then this year was the first year we actually started selling our produce at very, very low rates at the Bayview Farmers Market. This is still the main garden area, but just beyond that is the compost bins that we have. So even though we import a lot of fertility, we still are trying to show the process of how food becomes food once again. Eventually, we'd like to have chickens, possibly goats, to showcase how animals are an integral part of food production too. Even if you're a vegetarian, you still need fertility, which often comes from animals that can eat things that we won't eat. And then down here, the original individual community garden plots. I think that's what they were envisioned for. Right now, we're farming them as well. But yeah, this is a really good way to kind of show the community that we're have a presence here, that it's not just an abandoned piece of land. So this is the orchard area. We have, I think, about 70-something trees. Pears, apples, avocados, loquats, pomegranates, persimmons, plums, 5 different kinds of plums. These are pineapple guavas. It's called Feijoa celoiana. That's the genus and species name. These are the best. You just pick them after they fall on the ground. It's really tasty. Want to try it? Yeah, the bees here are taken care of by a group of beekeepers from the SF Beekeepers Association, and we're hoping to have our own, personal hive next year. Bees are pollinators, and as such, they're an important component to any food ecosystem, because without pollination of flowers on plants, you won't have fruit. The reason why I got interested in growing food was basically related to our energy system. And I was really increasingly distrustful of a food system that's heavily reliant on fossil fuel energy. There's a Victory Gardens history in San Francisco when people were growing, I've heard up to 40% of the city's food was grown within the city limits. And I feel like that's totally realistic. We could do a lot more growing our food locally and relying less on imported fossil fuel heavy foods. We have the privilege to be able to do these projects right now without having a pressure of oh my God, if this crop fails, we are going to starve. We can afford, as these activist-y types, to kind of experiment and learn on our own and seek out these opportunities and then pass them on to people who might not necessarily have those opportunities.